Macaventa, I have heard about this spiritual pressure, and as you continued to speak, it was about energy and love and causing us to find love for the brotherhood and the sisterhood, the fellowship of our world. But I wonder, spiritual pressure sounds kind of strange. And is that something we can apply to ourselves also? Or is it something you do to us and to the world?
Thank you, Dolores. This is Macaventa. We simply condition the environment. And it's a little bit like turning up the frequency dial on a receiver, on a radio, where what we do is we dial in this frequency, increase the amplitude of this frequency. Now, what that means is it's more readily available to people, and that they can then, if they choose, for free will is sacrosanct. There is no spirit being that will ever violate your free will. You must, of your own free will, choose to participate, but you can make this connection with your inner spirit easier. It has never been easier at any time in the history of humanity's evolution on this world for you to do this than now, because we have brought these lines of energy connected to this world. We have brought lines of communication. We have opened them on our end. We have dialed them in. We have reduced the static, so to speak. All it awaits is your response. And I wouldn't say that you put pressure on yourselves, but it definitely does require a response. You must consciously make a choice whether you want to participate and interact with these lines of energy and spiritual connection that we have brought and connected to this world, and experiencing them for yourself. For that is the only way you grow spiritually, is through personal experience. Until you personally engage in this process, it remains rather theoretical, an intellectual idea. But as with all theoretical knowledge, it doesn't manifest. What manifests is you putting these ideas into practice in your life. And then you begin to feel the presence of spirit within. First, it's rather tenuous. You just get a little taste. But once you have that first taste, you want more. And you come back for more. And so it's kind of like a spiritual gravity that we are exerting upon this world and its individuals. And many people are becoming sensitive to it and feeling a need to respond spiritually. And so those who can do so begin to feel an obligation to help others. But it all depends on the personal decisions that you make. It's entirely up to you. But it is limitless as far as we are concerned. There's no limit on how far you can grow your consciousness, your soul's capacity to connect with spirit. The only limit is your doubt, your fear, your lack of faith, and you're sitting on the edge of the precipice, staring into the abyss. and lacking the courage to take that first step into you do not know what, for it is a grand mystery. And you must trust that you will be caught, that you will be sustained. And so the lesson on courage is very appropriate. Does that help, Dolores?
Yeah, I have about 10 things. But as mother, as Mother Spirit called us flowers, then isn't, like you said, you get a taste and then you want more. If you think about plants growing up out of the dirt, then they taste the sun, and we need more sun. You always need, so it's something that's life-giving. Don't people
That
naturally go there? I mean, don't all people naturally crave that?
Macaventa. On a world where people, especially children, are not so traumatized, it is a natural craving. It is a natural impulse that has been put in human beings by your creator to respond to light. It's normal and it's natural. But so much has been covered over by dead rituals, dead dogma, by teachings that were designed by clever men to control people. And so it takes a great deal of effort and courage to throw aside all these social traditions, these religious traditions, these social norms that have been embedded in your consciousness from your birth. And now you need to cut through all of that and come to the source directly, where you are not separate from it. But it takes effort in this world at this time. And what we're trying to do is make it as easy as possible so that when people begin this process and start to take responsibility for it, they begin to taste some success early enough on in the process to encourage them to keep going.
Thank you. Okay, one more comment. Then you have spoken of us as vanguards or like, pilgrims, primitive, beginning, but eventually won't it be recognizable as a choice of life that so many people are spiritizing themselves that it won't take so much courage?
Macaventa. As primitive beings on a physical world like this, so grounded in the materiality, so influenced by the animal inheritance of your nature, what we in the spirit world call the mark of the beast. All these tendencies that are just physical. Human beings evolved from bellicose and fighting animals. And there's a great deal of animal traits within each human being that, as easy as it is, it still takes courage. And it will always take courage to say, I want to raise my level of consciousness above this animal inheritance. And I want to transfer the seed of my identity to my spiritual inheritance, which is this indwelling spirit. And I want to go in partnership with this indwelling spirit and co-create with it a new reality within me, a soul. And I want to grow that soul. And I want to live more and more from that soul position in me. That transference is a personal experience for each of you. And it will always take courage. Will it get easier in societies that are at peace, that have parents that are grounded and experienced and mature spiritually, that raise children in a home, an environment where unconditional love is the atmosphere and the norm, of course, it will be easier for those children. But it will always require courage. And it will always require an individual choice, the exercise of free will. It will get easier, indeed. And it will seem more normal, of course. But it will never be effortless.
Thank you, Macaventa.